Welcome, everyone. This is the Rotary eClub of Silicon Valley, and every week we try to bring you stories of people making a difference in the world. And we are excited today to bring you a speaker from Helsinki, Finland, because we clearly don't have enough Helsinki speakers. It is awesome that Steve has agreed to talk to us today. So for all of you joining us, if you are a member of our club, we are glad that you are part of it. As always, make sure you do the usual thing at the end of letting us know. Then we also want to make sure that people are kind of in that space of leaving comments at the end as well. So as you go through the program and you're thinking about the different things Steve shares with us, and as you've been through our meeting, if you have been through the entire meeting and you're watching this as a recording, think in terms of sharing your comments. We love to engage with you that way. So our speaker today is Steve Stokes, or better known as Coach Steve Stokes. And he is going to tell us a little bit about his journey to becoming an inventor and what that means regarding starting a business and thinking about these things and what does it say about himself. Steve is from Southern California, but he has done some traveling, and he has ended up in Helsinki working with an international school there. And we are excited to have him. Steve, I'm going to hand it over to you. Thank you for joining us today.
Okay, I'm going to jump right in here. So, from imitation to innovation. This is my journey on how I went from playing around with other people's products to creating my own. But it's really about the meaning behind the product that I created and what the importance it has to me for what it can do for anyone who gets their hands on it. I'm someone who genuinely likes to help people. But let's take a little trip back, right? So when I was just 8 years old, I got married. Now, before you call Child Protective Services on my mother, I mean to say that I married an idea. I watched my brother and my father play American football, and then my father left the home. So I wanted to be like them, but then I had this urge to play, and if I played well enough, maybe my father might come back, right? But I decided at that young age that I was going to be a professional football player. And I married that idea, even though I wasn't naturally talented at anything. And left and right people told me I was being foolish, setting my goals a little too high, not being realistic. And for all intents and purposes, a lot of them were right, but I didn't care. I knew I was going to make it. And everything I got in high school and college, I had to work for it. Nothing came to me easy. I was not naturally gifted. To reiterate that. I used to try to change myself because, like I said, I wasn't very big. I remember in college, a roommate of mine, we actually purchased tall juice, like some actual supplement to make adults grow taller. Needless to say, it did not work, right? But I was trying to fix anything about myself that I thought was wrong to get what I wanted. I was so stuck on this idea. And then college ended, and so did my marriage. I gave up on the dream for a little while. I actually started doing music and ran my own studio for a little bit. But at the same time I did that, I started to coach and play flag football to get my fix of football. And it got the juices flowing again. And I said, you know what? I'm going to accept reality. I'm not growing anymore, but I am going to go at this again because I still believe I can make it. I might have divorced the idea, but I still believe I got something in me that I can do this. So I got with a buddy of mine, and he taught me how to move, taught me how to walk again. So I said, I can't grow, but I could get faster and I can get stronger. So I have to do it with what I have. And it was revolutionary. I'm like, why didn't I do this when I was 8 years old? Because it wasn't rocket science, but it was self-clear things. But when it was explained to me clearly, I started to learn how to move differently. And I saw results. I started to go to football workouts. And in the summer of 2005, at 23 years old, I saw the dream, the childhood dream, actualized. I was invited into the BC Lions camp to play for their team. And for 3 weeks, I was living the dream, utter joy. And then, like that, it got snatched away from me. It said that I wasn't fast enough. I was the very last person cut from the final roster. after playing a game before the season started. I go back home, and the grandmother who helped raise me passed away. Needless to say, I started to spiral, and I got into a depression. But I've been a person who always believes that there's only two types of people in the world: those who focus on problems and those who focus on solutions. And I pride myself on being a solution-based person. So I fought my own depression. I got back out there and I said, I'm going to get faster. I'm going to do what they said I couldn't do to make the team and not be the last guy cut. So I got back with my training partner, Coach Wellington, and we were training twice a day, so aggressive, doing so many things that I kept pulling and tweaking muscles. And it kept putting a stop to a lot of the training we were doing. So what we decided was we were going to start tying me up to resistance bands or putting resistance bands on me. So I was going into department stores, into the yoga sections, finding any band I could find and just finding a way to attach it to myself so I could be as aggressive as I wanted to be, even more so, but it kept me safe because it didn't let me overextend myself. This worked like a charm, and I fell in love with resistance bands. Trained with them as much as possible after that. And I go back to the workout for the CFL the next year and I run faster. There's 100 guys at the camp and they do eliminations until there's 6 people left and I'm the best person left out of 6 and they don't bring me back because I wasn't there at the right time. I wasn't what they needed at that time. I didn't let this discourage me. So what I did was I started to open up what I could do on the internet and found out that they actually play American football in Europe. And I got an email from a team in Germany. Never talked to a human being. I just got an email, said, do you want to come play? I said, yep, send me a ticket. And 2 weeks later, I was on a plane to Germany without ever talking to a person. Luckily, the organization was great. And I had a lot of success there. Loved it. And I got to keep playing football. Can I tell you anything about Germany? Nope. Had tunnel vision. Too focused on what I wanted to do, which was get back to Canada. I married a new idea, get back to Canada. And all I did was train and play, train and play. Didn't get back the next year, but I got more workouts. So then I went to Italy, did the same thing. It was a higher league up. We won the Italian Super Bowl. Same thing. Can't tell you anything about Italy, right? But while I was there, my teammate had played the previous year in Finland. He told me it was a great place. So I went through the same cycle again. Then I got to Finland. And in Finland, we were getting beat badly. And someone turned to me and said, you know what? This is your team. We believe in you. However you go, we'll go. And for the first time ever, I had an organization believe in me more than I believed in myself. And I took this to heart. I didn't want to let them down. We had so much success and a great time doing it. Play a little clip here while I'm talking. This is me playing running back in Finland, and this is the type of stuff we used to do to people. It was wonderful. And I started to think I could just come back here and play there every year. I started to change my marriage. It wasn't so much about Canada. But then I got hurt. When I came back the next year, I blew my knee out. And I spent the rest of the year coaching, and then I had to go back home where I was a security guard. Now, that's a Halloween costume, but I was actually a security guard at a junior high. And I didn't have the means or the resources to rehab myself properly. So I started to innovate. And I started taking these resistance bands I used when I wanted to get faster, and I used it to help rehab my knee while I was stuck at work. I mean, I was without resources. I was couch surfing and sleeping in the parking lot of 24-hour Walmarts to survive. And then at the same time, tunnel vision on trying to rehab myself. So I built this contraption where there was a belt on and a resistance band attached to the belt, and it went down to my ankle. And this allowed the resistance band to help me lift my leg and increase range of motion. And then every time I would step down, I had to push through the resistance band and build strength. So I could train while I was getting my security guard on at work. The team still believed in me. They brought me back. And it was great. Everything worked perfectly. The bands did not let me down. I wore them every day at practice. I didn't have pants to wear over them, but I wore them every day at practice. And people started to ask questions. What's that? Why are you doing that? And I started to explain it, and this is how I got back. And then sure enough, I met a girl during the same time, and we decided to get married. And we planned our wedding before the season started the week after the Super Bowl. So we kind of banked on us winning, and we did, right? And I credit that to my training. We won the Super Bowl, the first one in team history. I was named MVP, the first American ever in the country in the 50 years of their sport to ever get that honor. It only used to go to Finnish people until we did what we did together. And you can see me here with my wife celebrating after the game. I continued on this path of training with the Bandz. And one of the guys asking about them in the training that I did with them, who made uniforms, was like, hey, I can get something made for you. Let's make our own. And my wife was like, do that, because I'm tired of you buying other people's crap and bringing it in our house. There's just boxes and bags of Bandz everywhere. Make your own. So I was like, all right, I'm going to try to make my own. And I did that. The first ones were called strap-ups, and I was obsessed with the fact that they needed to strap on the ankles and the wrists and be wearable so you could always move. And I spent a lot of time and energy on just these straps. You can see here the first kit that we had. The first thing I invented, I was super proud of it, but it was terrible. These little flimsy resistance bands did nothing. They just broke all the time. And the straps, they were okay, but people didn't get it, right? And I had a middleman. This guy was facilitating everything, so he was charging me too much. I said, oh, let me go try to figure this out myself. So I got on the internet, and on the internet, I developed my own plan. And I think I was like a kid in a candy shop, because as you can see, if we go back to this one, there's 5 pieces here. You go here, I'm not even gonna let you count. There's 19 pieces here. So I got this monstrosity of a contraption that I built, which was conceptually good. How good? You go on Instagram now, you type in boxer bands, you will see this exact model up there, sold by several different companies who knocked it off of me after I designed it. However, it did not logistically work for me. I didn't even understand logistics. I got frustrated with it. And I bought a big order because they forced me to buy a big order. And then all the Velcro I got for these straps was defaulted. They're still in my backyard, wasted. So again, I was married to these straps. This process took about 6 or 7 years with me playing and designing and developing these with people who speak no English whatsoever, emailing them back and forth, translating things. And it took so long to get something that just didn't work. So I divorced my idea again. I gave up. My partner that was working with me and believing in me the whole time, we gave up. You know, look, you see that you look crazy in these things. There was so much going on, right? So I gave it to him. I said, this is yours. This is yours. I'm here if you need me, but I have to step away. And I took a little break and I divorced it again. And what I learned was all these times I married ideas, I got stuck on them. I almost got blind to the fact when there was different opportunities presenting themselves or when the journey would pivot. And when I divorced them and I stepped away from them, I could see clearly. And when I did that, I called my friend back no more than 2 weeks later. Within a year, we developed a new band that got me on American Ninja Warrior, that got in the hands of all of our clients. Everyone has loved it. It ticked all the boxes to fix every single issue we had with the previous one. I even went back at the age of 36 to play football again, only training with the Bandz just to prove, 1, that I still got it, and 2, that the Bandz work to play at a very high level, to perform at a high level. They work. This is the only style of training I did, and just hop back on the football field and had some success. So there's a video here, but my time is pretty much up. I'll play this later for you guys to see, but this is just someone working. I'll play it now and we'll start to wrap this up. But it's not even playing. There it is. So no need for that volume. These are the products that we've created. They're now in the hands of several people all around, especially America, but around the world. A lot of young athletes, professional athletes, people just in general for fitness. And the great thing we love about it is it's called G.Y.M Bandz, and G.Y.M stands for guiding your movement or get your money. That's not money literal. It's money in your money as an investment in yourself. When you work out, you take care of yourself. This is the #1 defense that we have against COVID. It's to stay healthy and be active, but gyms are closed. So we're so proud now that we created something that's pandemic proof, something that you can keep in your pocket, take with you, and train with you anywhere. So, I mean, I'm just over the moon proud of what we've been able to create. The only problem I have now is not too many people know about it. And none of us are very good at marketing. So the whole mission now is, what's the next step? We're not going to focus on that problem. We're going to look for solutions and figure out how to get this in as many hands as possible. Completely safe for children and effective for professional athletes everywhere in between. And machine washable. Like I said, pandemic proof. These things are like corona friendly. But I've gone over 12 minutes. That's my time. That's my story. I'll turn it back over to you, Rushton, to get to the Q&A.
Fantastic. Awesome, Steve. Go ahead and stop sharing there. Let's introduce the folks that we've got on the recording today. So I want to go around. When I call your name and where you are, just wave, and that'll be great. You've already met Steve in Helsinki, all right? And Steve's partner, Daryl, is in Seattle. Daryl, good to have you with us. As we go across my screen, next is Farheen, who is in Santa Clara, Shags in Walnut Creek, Allah in Tours, outside of Paris. We have Varun with us, who is also in Helsinki. We have Cecilia with us, who is in Sunnyvale. Sandy, who is in Fremont. I'm in San Jose. We have Xavier with us. Thank you for joining us as well. And Rory in Houston. All right, so we got a good group with us today. And Steve, I am excited for us to get into the Q&A. I want to start by having you speak to something specific. There is, as I think about the lines that stick in my head, I once read, for example, that sitting is the new smoking. And that's like all of 5 words, but it's the kind of thing that just sticks, right? Just sticks in your head. And you have a saying that I thought was really powerful as well. If you knew better, you'd move better. Tell me about that. How did that become a part of how you looked at things?
Well, as I was saying in my story, I was doing stupid stuff like buying tall juice and trying to change who I was as a person instead of accepting who I was. When I accepted who I was, and I got with my buddy and we said, let's move at maximum capacity. Let's trim the fat on the bad movement. And when I started to do that, we realized not only was I playing for 15 years, not even scraping the surface of my potential, but this was a problem for most people we saw around us. So we actually started a program at the same time while I was training to get back to the pros, where we helped children at the high school I was coaching at. And we took a group of sophomores in high school. We trained them for 8 weeks. We did nothing intense. All we did was fix the way that they moved and ran. And then we took them to a workout with all seniors, and they blew everyone away. It only took us 8 weeks to do this. And we did all of their markings and timings at the beginning of the 8 weeks, and they wouldn't have came close to any of the seniors. In 8 weeks, we transformed everything. And we realized this isn't just a problem that I was having. This is a big problem everyone else is having, because people are movement illiterate in a lot of ways. We don't pay attention to it the same way we pay attention to arithmetic or literature. If you have dyslexia, you'll get support. If you run a little funny, they'll say, oh, I'll figure it out. So they don't, we don't have a culture anywhere in the world. I've lived in 6 different countries. And there's nowhere where anyone gives the support for improper movement. They just figure we get out and we're active, and that's enough. Be active for 60 minutes. That's great. I'm not saying that's wrong, but when you're active and you don't move correctly, it does not facilitate or promote moving more often and enjoying movement. I know people who hate running, and if you know how to run well, you'll never hate running.
All right. Well, I want to start giving people the chance to chime in with questions. Wave at me if you've got one ready to go. My guess is that these bands are for a lot more than just high school athletes, though, right? I mean, like if we're talking about movement and health, is this something you've tried with a lot of different folks?
Right now, we have them in gyms or Pilates centers, yoga centers. I use them with tennis players. They're with a few NFL players. We're trying to get to the NBA. That's one of our, I want to say it's a problem. One of our challenges is that it works so well for so many different people that we don't know how to market towards a specific demographic at a specific time. We're not sure who to target because, I talk to my father, and he's like, oh, this is for senior citizens. This is great. This is the only thing I want to use. I don't want to go to the gym and push weights around. I want to use this. And then I go to my daughter's dance class and they love it, and they're doing ballet and things like that with children. So there's this huge wide spectrum of so many people that can benefit from it. Let's not overcomplicate it though. At the end of the day, resistance bands have been around. We didn't reinvent the wheel. We just made the wheel a whole lot better. And the problem I had with resistance bands that were out there is there's so many different variations and such bad quality. So our mission was to create something that had excellent quality, but also could function and do what all of these other resistance bands you need. So you don't have to carry a bag like I used to, and my wife used to get upset with me, of so many different variations. So within this one band, you can do essentially what any other band can do, all tied up in one small, nice package.
Very cool. The idea of watching how many different things the person in the final video could do with it was I thought very interesting, for thinking about, well, what kind of things do I need, right? Farheen, I know you have a question. Why don't you chime in?
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Steve, for your presentation. I have recently started to use resistant band because I had knee surgery a few months ago. And so I had to rehabilitate my knee and learn to walk and then run all over again. And so I guess my question for you is, I have two different, resistance in the resistant band, right? There's like a yellow one and an orange one, and the orange one is more difficult. And so I'm really curious with your band, it seems like there's only one. So are there like, how do you vary the strength of the resistance?
It's an amazing question. So it looks like there's only one resistance, and there is one extremely long resistance here, but you notice we have stars on there. So the stars are indicative of of different levels of strength. So if I bring it in tight, I'm going to have a much stronger level of resistance. In the center, it's also doubled up as well. So this is the strongest point of the band. But if I stretch it out further, I'll get a lot more range of motion. So depending on where I anchor it, how much I pull from there, I can go from light to strong, or if you fold these in half and work like this, I can double it up. So you don't need different colors, different variations. This is light enough for children and rehab to use. Like I said, this all started with me blowing my knee out and learning to move again as well. But it's also something I use for sports performance. So what we like to say, if it's good enough for rehab, it's good enough for prehab as well, right? Why not do it when I'm at my best, not just at my worst? But this is something safe, light enough for you to do when you are at your worst, when you are trying to get back to what you used to be. And understanding how to change the variations on it. I actually just did a video yesterday from my client who blew her knee out for a 4th time. She didn't do that with me, but she's asking for more knee mobility drills as she starts to get back into her sport. So I put together a special knee mobility video. Make sure you check that out on the Bandz YouTube channel. It'll be up later next week, showing some basic drills on how you can go from using a lot of tension or a little bit of tension, but to increase mobility, strength, and range of motion in the supporting muscles around that joint and getting that joint activated and lubricated so you can get back to being your good self.
Thank you so much.
Good stuff. Cecilia, you have a question.
Yes, so this is so timely because I just bought a set of 5 bands, which I haven't even taken out of the box yet. So I could send them back. And so where would I get your band and how much does it cost? And kind of related and on marketing, have you thought about doing fulfillment by Amazon? Because love them or hate them, lots of people are there. And I looked through, I don't know, a dozen different sets of bands, and you'll see the top 5 reviews are really great. And then when you dig a little deeper, there are horror stories about bands snapping and people getting injured from that and so forth. So tell me.
So you go to right now, we're working on a new website as we branch out and move on from just the band, because G.Y.M, grow your movement, guide your movement, is going to be more than just one thing, but this is the foundation of what we do. So right now there's a website specific for just these. Russian, just put it in the chat. G.Y.M-bands.com is a Shopify shop. We do fulfillment on our own right now. My partner, Mr. Hill over here, literally just finished his evaluation with Amazon last week. So the next move is to get onto Amazon and start to compete with these bands that we see out there. And when you go to the website, the first video you see will be me and him talking about the horror stories you just alluded to, because I told you I've been using Bandz for years. I have lacerations. I've almost lost an eye. That monstrosity that I developed in the beginning had these huge metal hooks. One of the people that bought it from me actually almost ripped an entire knuckle off. It's insane, some of the things that these things can do to you, but they still stay around because there's so much benefit from the use of Bandz. But that was something we really were focused on. You can put this on your hand, around your foot, around your ankle. You can attach it to yourself or to anything else, and you don't need any other accessories. No plastic, no metal, no Velcro, nothing. Just these, all you need. And it's super soft, nice against the skin.
Great.
We constantly do this with especially the young kids, where we'll pull them and they're resisting with the Bandz, and we just let it go to slap against them. You know, kind of a trial and error. I do it with my own children, but to see if you're actually going to get that type of horror story, and we've had none because it's just so soft.
Great, thank you. And the YouTube videos are going to be up next week? Because there's playing the band and then there's using them.
Exactly. So we are in the process as well of putting together content. That's a lot of the feedback that we get is we need content. I want to know how to use them. Another challenge we have is because so many people can use them and do so many different things. We don't want to spread ourselves thin and create so many different variations of what to do, but we also don't want to limit the use of them. The whole point of them is you can put them on and do what you normally do, but some people who need guidance, who need help, we want to offer that as well. So what we do now is we say, if you purchase from us, you email us, we'll jump on a Zoom call with you, and we'll have coaches not just send you a cookie cutter workout that's for anyone. We'll talk to you about your needs and what you hope to accomplish, and give you ways that we know that it can specifically help you. So we want to have that personal relationship, especially in these times where we don't get to be around people or see people as much. It's actually something we get a kick out of, being able to have that relationship with people online. And great customer service is something that we are really keen on making sure we maintain. We've had only one complaint the entire time that we've been active selling online, and that was delivery took too long because they were coming out internationally, and there was this whole pandemic thing that happened at the same time. So that screwed up our shipping for about a month and a half. But now Daryl has completely fixed that, and no one is waiting more than a week to get their Bandz.
Thank you.
Fantastic. Shags, I believe you've got some audio for us.
I do, but it could wait.
I'd say go with it.
All right.
We're going to have to raise the volume on that thing. That was applause for those of you who are listening to the recording going, what?
Awesome.
All good. So I love the story of how we get to a point where we're like, okay, this is something I need. How do I get there? It's not out there. I want to make it. So that story of becoming an inventor is a powerful one. We're going to hand it back to Steve in just a minute for the final word. But for all of you who have joined us, know this: those of us who are on the recording, we're going to get to keep talking to Steve and Daryl and the team, because that's one of the perks of being part of the club, right? And getting involved in these recordings is that we get to talk to interesting people from all over the world. So we hope that you will let us know you were here, leave a comment at the end, and that you will come back and join us for future recordings and programs that we have as we try to inspire people from all over the world. Steve, I want to hand it back to you for the final comment, and thank you again for being part of our day.
Thank all of you guys for entertaining me and listening to my story. This is something near and dear to me, something I get really passionate about. I am married to the Bandz once again, but I am not sitting in a place of tunnel vision. Now I have help. I heard a great quote yesterday. There's limits to I can that cannot be matched by we can. And now that we are building a team, myself, Daryl, and a few others that are starting to join us, Varun is coming in as well. The we part of it means a lot to me because it's not about me. It's not about just, I know today was my story, but the whole point of GYM, the beginning of that is forget your, or get yours. Whatever you want the M to mean, that's for you. But we want you to get control of you. We want to get you moving. We want you to grab your moment. I can hit you with a million GYM acronyms right now, but it's synonymous with being fit, taking care of yourself, staying active. If you knew better, you'd move better. And the last thing I'll say is, we're not here to break your comfort zones. We want you to stay in your comfort zones. But please understand, you can expand your comfort zone to unimaginable lengths when you invest in yourself.
Very nice. Everyone, we will see you next week.